But also something else I want to talk about too was Megalopolis, because Megalopolis with Francis Ford Coppola has been trying to make this movie for like since the 80s. Had to self-finance this. Oh my! Yeah, is this movie doomed? That's the question I'm putting out to you right now, because since the 80s, he's been trying to do this. Nobody would finance it. He finally sold off a bunch of his vineyards and got $100 million put up front out of his own pocket to self-finance this project. And right now, the ratings for pre-sale tickets are going out like they're saying about 5 million opening weekend, maybe 8 million opening weekend. And then on top of that, we had that AI trailer, AI created trailer where the AI used all these different fake quotes in it, and they got in trouble. They pulled it down. All these critics didn't say these things, but AI put it in the trailer and they just posted it online. And he got a lot of backlash from that. He said it was a mistake, which of course, like, why are you using AI at all in your trailers like this? Probably because not a lot of money. Doesn't have a lot of money, so they're probably supplementing it with AI, probably. But now on top of that, he's suing Variety for libel over an article that went down on July 26th that said that he was unprofessional on set. Allegations that he was hugging and kissing female background artists. Allegations about how he was acting during this party scene, and what his representation came forward to say this was all to set the spirit of the scene, and this wasn't supposed to be happening because there were NDAs signed, and no one should have been shooting anything during this. And I get that, but if something is there, then that's a problem. If something is weird going down, but who knows? These are allegations again. He's suing for $15 million of Variety because this went down, and he's saying this are all wrong. They're all wrong. He said this all not true, and he's going after them. What will happen? I don't know. I really don't know. This Lauren Pagoni is the actual background artist who was apparently the one that had these interactions with him. They were saying, according to this Variety article too, that she had a civil assault suit against him and the production company for negligent failure to prevent sexual harassment on set. Is that true? Again, we don't know. They says these are false and defamatory, and that's it. But I would say this overall. Is this movie just doomed? I mean, you're self-financing it. You're making this. You're doing this out of your pocket. A lot of money, a lot of time. And is it just doomed? Is it doomed to want to make your passion project, Jonathan? Because it seems like it, and it sucks. It's so much money he put out there. He's been wanting to do this movie for so long. Big cast. Aubrey Plaza's in this. Look at this cast, the huge cast. Adam Driver.
I get it. Listen.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to say this into my Elgato Wave 3 mic that someone had asked about. What am I using? It's the Elgato Wave 3 mic. Doesn't mean I know exactly how to use it yet. It's relatively new. USB versus XLR. I was switching over from Mac to PC, and so I got this. Anyway, here's my answer. He had to sell his vineyards?
Yeah. Yep, he was selling them off.
That is just terrible. That is depressing. Here's the thing. You want to make a movie, you got to get funding. If you can't get funding, that might be, especially if you're a star, that might be an indication that perhaps your movie isn't what it needs to be in order to make money. Hence, nobody who's investing money sees that they could get any return on it. But you know what? I do salute him in this. If he can't get funding from VCs or investors, then he's going to put up his own money. Fine. Put up your own money. But then don't complain to the media like, I had to sell my vineyards and my condo in St. Croix, and I had to sell my estates in Aspen. Look.
Well, you got to crush a few grapes to make a movie.
Fair enough. Yep. Do what you got to do to make not just your art, but let's not forget, it's not just art. We're talking about a business that did bring in millions of dollars in revenue. So we don't feel bad for you that you sold your vineyards. We feel bad for you that nobody's coming to see your masterpiece, because I wonder, did you listen to the advice that hopefully you sought out when creating this thing? If not, then you should be overjoyed that your passion piece made $5 million. My passion piece never made $5 million. So congratulations. But stop complaining. Stop treating this movie as if it's the best thing anyone's ever going to see, if only they'd see it. That's my statement.
Yeah, It's 100%.
I will say, going off
listen to the investors. You're getting there, Spencer.
Yeah, I was just saying, going off of that, I think it's also interesting to think about that 200 million, right, is how much it costs, and then they have to make, if you think about it business wise, it has to make at least 400 to 500 million to turn a profit. So this movie is not a movie that's going to make 500 million to begin with. It's
no way.
It's not a big movie in terms of following that would be that big. Like, it's not a superhero movie. It doesn't have a built-in audience. Francis Ford Coppola did The Godfather. Like, that's great, but that was in the 70s. And this is not the 70s. So I just think that there's a lot to be said about that, because you have to think about it. Like, even like with Avatar going in, James Cameron's like, this movie's going to make billions of dollars. And then the second one didn't, and they're still going to make 3, 4, 5. But this one, it's like $200 million was your budget for a movie that may or may not do well. And as John was saying, it's a passion project. Like, it's really not something that everyone else is going to be just as into. I have tickets for it on the 23rd, but we'll see what happens.
But remember, that's art. That is art. Art should not...
Because that's the only IMAX showing that's before 10 p.m.
I want to see it though too. It is art, like John was saying. But I want to see it too. Like, I think it does look good. But again, that's what happens with investors too. They say this is not going to sell, this is not going to do well, and they don't put money in. Like Jonathan was saying, that's how it is. You got to listen to these people. I hate to say it sometimes. Passion projects,
if you want money, if you want their money, you have to listen to them. So then, you have to do it somebody else's way because you're going to use somebody else's money. So I do. I mean, I criticize him, but I do salute this guy because, look, if he's going to do it his way with his own money, so be it. And you know what? It might be a great film. Great. It might be. But that doesn't mean it's a great investment. And there's a difference. And I feel like some of these big wig money-making Hollywood types, they have a hard time understanding the difference between a great film and a great investment. They can be both. They can be either. They can be neither. If you're going to make it yourself, then make it yourself. That means you get to keep all the profits or all the debt. That's capitalism. That is free enterprise. That is this business. And he knows better than the rest of us how tough and how lucrative it can be.
How's this shit any different than Avatar?
It's a good point. It's a good point. Avatar's still making money though, Lexi. Avatar is still...
It's not making money. No.
It is. It is.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. If you pay attention to numbers the way I've been learning to, because I've been learning this, if you pay attention to the way that they fudge numbers, I've never seen a man who fudges his numbers harder than James Cameron. James Cameron fudges... No, I'm dead serious. James Cameron fudges his numbers harder than anybody. He uses international sales. He uses, like, worldwide sales with all of his stuff. He uses, like... Which a lot of times when I was, like, learning, like, my box office numbers and stuff for a long time, like, when I started doing the show... It was all American box office numbers forever. We never looked at like the like international sales. Those came in like later. It was always domestic. You always looked at your domestic box office. Second of all, like this time frame that we're looking at, I've talked about this before. Those like a week in a movie. Oh, it was in the theater for a week. Oh my god, it didn't make any money. I can't believe it. And it's like, well, nobody goes to the fucking movie and pays $20 to watch a movie when it's only in their movie theater for a week and you didn't advertise it. So there's all that kind of side of things. But like outside of that factor and all that kind of stuff, the jokes that I'm making about Cameron and his fudging his numbers, because he does totally fudge his numbers. $500 million for a fucking passion project, and we're talking shit about this, a $200 million passion project he paid for out of his own pocket. At the end of the day, I give a lot more respect to Coppola for this than I will for Cameron, because we're pretending that Cameron stuff is making money when it's not. And I've talked a billion times about the way that money is made. Like, the true numbers, when you look at the truth about numbers, the highest grossing film ever made is The Blair Witch Project. By numbers. Because they only invested $100,000 into that film and made over $200 million on it. Box office.
It's insane. It's insane.
So when you look at those numbers, your lower investments are your highest numbers. If you're only investing $1 million into a film and you get $100 million back from it, that's a better return than if you invest $500 million into it and you get $3 billion in return. You're not really making all that much money. So it's like, I don't get it. Anyway,
do you really not get it, or you're that you mean that just as a
I don't get like the bullshit. Like I'm like the idea that we sit here and we go, oh, this movie made so much money. I'm like, okay, if you want to like fudge your numbers and like,
I
sit
see.
here,
Okay.
Because then also if you had the ability to take these movies, like okay, let's look at something that did fail, right? Like let's look at Furiosa for an example, right?
Yeah.
If I had the ability, if I was someone who had the power that Cameron does, and I know I keep using Cameron. Oh well, you know what? I'll re-release it in theaters. I'll just keep re-releasing it in theaters because that ability to take my shit and re-release it back in theaters and recycle and recycle and recycle. I mean, Rocky Horror Picture Show, by those standards, is one of the highest grossing movie theater whatever's because they won't stop running it in movie theaters by that standard. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's bullshit. So anyway, I don't think this is the first time that Coppola has come up with one of his insane passion projects. I don't know if anybody remembers back in the 90s that really strange thing that he tried to make that it was like, I don't know what it was, like a fantasy thing or like some kind of, I don't know, it was really colorful and had like people with like weird red robes and stuff. I don't know if it was a mini series for Fox or what it was. It was like mid 90s. I'm like, I swear to God, I'm the only person that knows what I'm talking about. I don't know if he's a producer on it or what it was, but like, exactly. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. And he was investing all this money into it and all this whatever, and nobody watched it. And I don't even know if it got made or if it even got finished or what it is. I know if you look it up, you can figure it out because Coppola would have his name on it, right? But that thing went nowhere. There was nothing from it. I know, like, that was one of his, like, big failed projects. So, I mean, and also, like, the fact that he has to sell off his wine crops, like, his wine sucks. Like, straight up. Like, his wine fucking sucks. No, I like wine. I'm a wine drinker. Like, seriously, like, I'm a big wine drinker. I'm like, nah, his wine's not good. Because I buy celebrity wines. I like celebrity wines. So I'm like, I'll buy all the celebrity wines just because I like to make fun of their wines. Or if it's really good wine, I'll be like, hey, that's fucking awesome. Like, I collect like musician wine and shit like that. Like, that's my thing. So I'm like, Coppola, your wine sucks, bud. Like, all day. But like, I mean,
let's see, is this going to bomb though? You think for him though too? Think it's going to bomb? Like, you think it's just not going to? It's just not going to be any magic wand. These are again pre-sale stuff.
Of course, it's going to bomb for him. Yes, with an expectation that was it going to make money in a box office? No, nothing's going to make money in a fucking box office. The only things that make money in the box office are horror movies for teenagers and family films that are animated for kids, made by Pixar. That's
or maybe Christmas movies. Like, do they make money? I don't know.
Holiday, always. I think they make decent money.
It's got to be like a very particular kind. Like, it's got to be like Will Ferrell grade, like top tier,
Elf.
whatever.
You're trying to be like it's Elf.
Or like Elf an animated thing. One of the animated, they make some really solid animated ones. But like, if they try to go off the rails, like this one that's coming out with The Rock, that what is it? Red. That is terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
oh no!
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it 100%. I'm all about this.
I think it looks
J.K. Simmons is super ripped in this. He looks so great. Don't mess with J.K. Santa. Don't do it.
I will say though, I'm really sad for Adam Driver. I feel like Adam Driver is one of the most phenomenal actors, and he really is under deserving of the way he's been treated in Hollywood. Like everyone's
treated. How has he been treated?
He keeps getting put. He gets put in a lot of these movies that just bomb. A lot of the movies that he's in are bombs. Like it's not his fault.
Put in them. He gets cast them, and he makes.
He gets cast as agent.
For him, that man's doing fine.
He's making money. He's making big movies. That dinosaur one, I know it didn't do that well, but I bet he got paid great for that too.
Did you just say like big movies like the dinosaur one?
The dinosaur one. That was a big budget movie. Still, what the hell was that shit called?
Like my head. We're looking at Timothy Chalamet, and we got Adam Driver over here, and I'm like, what the fuck are we looking at Timothy Chalamet for? And we got Adam Driver. Adam Driver's phenomenal. And Adam Driver's so hot. I'm like, why are we not using him more? I'm like, Adam 65. Driver should be like. I just feel like Adam Driver should be a top tier celebrity. Like Adam Driver should be up there. You know what I mean? I just don't think he's
Kylo Ren
the way he is.
I'll be Kylo Ren.
Was it the Star Wars curse?
He's Oscar nominated.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. Spencer?
Was that movie that he did with Scarlett?
Two Oscar noms?
What's her name? Scarlett O'Hara? That's not her name. Not O'Hara. That's
not Johansson.
Johansson. Thank you. Jesus, I must be tired. He did a movie with Scarlett Johansson where it was called The Marriage or something. Was that what it was called?
Oh yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Marriage Story.
They had Marriage Story.
There you go. Marriage Story.
They had an amazing argument scene with each other where you look at that and you go, "This is some of the finest acting I've ever seen."
One of his Oscar noms.
Bam! Look at that.
Yeah, he's a great actor. There's no question about that. I think for him, maybe he doesn't necessarily look at how big a blockbuster can this be. Maybe he's looking at the work. There comes a point where you don't have to make your work decisions based on finances anymore. I think he's reached that.
Which is great. I mean, I think about Revolutionary Road.
Tim,
man.
Come on, Tim.
Boy.
Can I just say, Tim,
Tim,
that's great casting. I can't think of a better person to cast.
Take my money.
Happy man.
Maybe we need to do a chat vote. Maybe if like 10 people vote for this, we can just spend the last few minutes. I'm sure you have more stories, Brian, but the world wants to know more about the unicorn experience.
Maybe we can do that in after hours type deal. Maybe an after hours conversation. Before we move on, though, Spencer, I know you're somebody that wants to see Megalopolis.
I want to see
it. How are we talking about Megalopolis?
That's what I'm saying.
It has a unicorn story. You're talking about this movie no one's ever going to see.
It's still the home of entertainment news. So, Spencer, is it gonna bomb, or is there gonna be like a flux of people that we don't know about that are gonna go see it and it'll make its money back?
Tell us, Spencer.
I just think that's a big budget for that movie.
Maybe 50 million would have been good for this. Maybe 50 million, 25 maybe.
Yeah, at the most.
You wouldn't have had that star power, though, either. That's the thing. I mean,
it's also, you have to think about the fact that, like, but also, we have a director who hasn't really been, quote-unquote, relevant since, like, the late 70s, 80s with the popular stuff. So, coming in with a movie that it's like, this is a movie, y'all remember me as a director of classic movies. It's like, well, okay, but that was in the 70s. The people who saw the movies in the 70s are not the market now for those movies. So throwing those actors in there is a hope that people will go see it for the actors alone. So you're selling the names. You're not.
Which perspective are you approaching this from, though, Spencer? Are you approaching this from the artistic perspective or the capitalist perspective? They can be one and the same, but I feel like this one's split.
Yeah,
if it's about the money, then no, we don't need. What?
It's always about the money.
What are you laughing at?
I can't with the chat.
You're right. Because anyway, I'm saying if it's about the money, then
Tim
Coppola's not a dog in this fight at all, right? But it's not just about that. Mm-hmm. It's about that balance between art and money. So I feel like there's a way to take somebody like Coppola and make his films profitable. And how do you do that? By hiring the best actors you can afford to be in your films, which is why he's got people like Adam Driver, etc. I'm not saying it's going to save it, but I think I understand the logic, even though it might be a little bit flawed.
Yo, player, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the pep star needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.